Hey Rockets, it's Colette Pledger again this week with the Rocket Report. And this week, my guest is Amanda Schwartinsky. She is our district ELAR specialist, mostly working with grades pre-K through 6. So with the 83rd legislative session, there were several changes with early childhood literacy. That brought new instructional materials and a heavy emphasis on phonics instruction with requirements for explicit phonics instruction to occur in a systematic way in our younger grades. Can you tell us a little bit about Fundations, what parents might see at home with that?
Sure. So Foundations, we adopted this last year for pre-K through third grade. And what you'll see in Foundations, it is, like Colette was saying, is a very explicit and systematic approach to teaching phonics. And so when we talk about explicit, we're talking about teachers being very direct and very focused in how they're teaching those skills. And so systematic also meaning that we take and we build from sort of the simplest of phonics skills and we continue and build to more complex skills. So that looks like in pre-K kinder, we start with letters and sounds, and then by the time, we get further into pre-K and kinder, we're looking at more reading and decoding. And then that just kind of continues on as we go through the grade levels. And so there's a lot of research out there about phonics and the need for very explicit, systematic instruction in phonics. And so kids are spending about 30 minutes every day in the classroom with that direct instruction. Some of the things that you might hear or see that kids are doing, you might see a lot of tapping. Kids, when they're trying to learn sounds of words and blending. And then there's a strong focus on handwriting. You might see paper that has like the skyline, the plane line, the grass line, word line. This is important for kids to learn how to form letters correctly. So when you think about like brain power, and when kids are having to use a lot of brain power to think about the sound a letter makes and how to write that letter and what that letter looks like. So when we can really make that an automatic thing for kids, it sort of takes that brain power out of how I make the letters, and then I can actually really focus on how to spell and write words.
It's super fun to watch those lessons. The kids have their boards out and they have their different letters that they move around and they're coding these sounds. And in addition to that, there are some requirements for training for our teachers, not just with that program, but out of the legislative session. Can you tell us a little bit about what that looks like and what we're doing in Robinson ISD?
The state of Texas is requiring our teachers to go through what they're calling Reading Academy. So teachers will end up with about 60 hours of continuing education that is specific to early literacy, and we'll be going through 12 modules. Most of this is done sort of outside during their time, so they're having to spend time learning, and then we collaborate together here at school too as well. And so this is all kindergarten through third grade teachers. It just helps support what we're learning and that we're keeping, with up to what research is saying. And so there's a lot of research on just the science of teaching reading and how kids are not born able to read. I mean, that's something that we really have to learn the best practices in how to teach kids to read.
Thank you so much for sharing that helpful information so parents can know a little bit more about what their students are learning at school in regards to phonics and beginning reading instruction, and also make sure we are thankful for Amanda for leading that charge, and also to thank our teachers, especially all of our K through 3 teachers that are going through that additional 60 hours of professional development this year with everything else that's going on. Have a great week.